Hi, my name is Paul. This is an intro to our Grow Weed Beginner Series, which steps through all of the phases of growing weed from seed to harvest. So this beginner series is intended for beginners with possibly no experience at all with growing. So there will be a lot of basic concepts and there may be some repetition, which may seem frustrating to people that already have some experience. Uh, so let's start with the basics. We will be growing only feminized seeds in a cocoa perlite medium using two grow tents, one for our vegging plants and one for our flowering plants. I wanted to go over some of the most common questions that we receive when people take an interest in growing at home, and also just give a quick rundown of what's involved. Okay, first let's discuss the legality of growing weed. So you have to check your local laws for the legality. I live in Arizona where it's legal to grow six plants per adult and up to 12 plants per household currently. So before you start any of this, I recommend check the laws in your state and start there. All right, so next, people ask, how bad is the smell? Where can I grow in my house to not affect my household? So currently I have a space off of my garage that I have a dedicated room, and it's isolated somewhat from my living area. This is the ideal recommended setup. But I have had people that have grown in apartments, and yes, you can grow. Ideally, I would recommend having the tents close to a window where you can exhaust into a window. And we are incorporating activated carbon filters that do a pretty good job of filtering out the smells. Of course, weed can be pungent. The filters will get old, so there will be some smells, still released. So make sure you're okay with that. Okay, the next common question: how much will it cost to get started? So our recommended getting started setup costs around $1,000 with the two tents. We also have, a modified build. It's called a 0.5.0 build. That basically just tries to incorporate one tent, which isn't the best scenario since you only have one tent for vegging and flowering, and that prohibits you from taking clones. But it can be done in one tent, and that'll cut the cost closer to $500 to get started with everything. So, how much time is this going to take you, to grow weed at home? Again, I'm going to go off of the two tent setup, with a lot of these questions. So yeah, to get the two tent setup configured, initially, um, for a complete beginner, if you're just following the videos, making mistakes, going back and forth, making decisions, on where to put your grow space, I would estimate it around 10 hours of work, which to get straight 10 hours is hard to do. So a lot of people will take around a week or so to get it going. How much time will it take you once everything is up and running? Uh, so I'm going to try to average this time, as at times, right, you're going to be getting your seed started, then you're going to be transplanting your seed. So there's times where you'll spend a little extra time. There's times that you'll spend a little bit less time. For example, just the watering itself and feeding, that might take you, 5-10 minutes every other day, maybe a little bit of pruning. But when it comes down to, transferring your plant, that might take you a little bit longer if you're a beginner. And the most time-intensive thing involved is after you harvest your buds, you dry them. Now you got to clean them up. So you got to, knock off all the dead leaves, and that process is what takes the most time and is the most annoying, from my experience. And for a complete beginner, I think, let's say you harvest a good plant, you get 5 ounces from a plant. Per ounce, it could take like 45 minutes. And once I got really good at it, I cut a few corners. I got it down to maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes an ounce. So that's the most time-consuming thing. And averaging all that in with two tents, I would estimate you're doing probably like a half hour a day or so. But again, it can be a labor of love. For me, it is. It's a hobby. So if you have time, that kind of time, I recommend it. Okay, the next question is, how long does it take to actually produce the weed? So in our recommended video where we go through feminized seeds, you're looking at about maybe 3.5 months from the seed to the actual finished product, more or less, because some strains take longer to grow than others. So that's the most common questions that come to mind. Uh, Please feel free to go to our website, howgrowweed.com, post on any one of the pages. If you have questions, if something is not clear, we'll try to get to them. And also our YouTube channel, Make Weed Not War. Please feel free to comment on the videos. And it might take a few days to get back to them, but we'll try to get back to every comment that's made. So next, I just wanted to run through, the basics of everything that's involved in growing. I want to show you the plants, the lights, and just discuss with you what's involved, give you a quick idea of what it is. And I'm going to do that in the second part of this video series, since in that section I'm actually going to be showing marijuana plants, and I won't be able to make that section public, which is what I would like to do with this initial intro video. So check for part 2 of this intro if you want to see the plants.